To close up, the Libertarians are back on the ballot as a third party this cycle. Their CD2 candidate is Justin O'Donnell, and he's here this morning. Justin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me back.
I appreciate your time. So in 2016, you had a lot of people look at the two presidential candidates and just say, I want something else. And that drove a lot of Libertarian support. This time around, we've got President Trump seems to bring back this sort of binary nature of politics, where it's either you're with me or against me. So where do the Libertarians stand? Are they part of the resistance or on the Trump train?
Neither. Libertarians are, as we were in 2016, we're libertarians. We are providing a balance between the two major parties. We're giving a third option and a third choice that people can look and see, well, that's where we're different. Sure, there's points we agree with Republicans on, there's points we agree with Democrats on, and there's a lot of points we disagree with both of them on because we view them as the same. So I've been joking this election cycle, there might be three parties on the ballot, but there's only two choices: more of the same or vote Libertarian.
So let's get into some of the issues. What, if anything, should Congress do to stop mass shootings?
Mass shootings are a cultural problem. It's not a gun problem. At its root, it's a mental health and a cultural problem. I'm not sure it's Congress's job to stop. If you look at the breakdown, everyone wants to argue for gun control as a method to stop it. New Hampshire has no gun control. New Hampshire has some of the loosest gun laws in the country, yet we don't have mass shootings. People grow up with a respect for guns in New Hampshire. People are used to seeing them on a regular basis. I stopped to get coffee this morning at Cumberland Farms, and at least 3 of the 20 people there were open carrying firearms. It's not out of the ordinary. In the Granite State culture, the people of New Hampshire have respect for each other, and they grow up in a culture where violence isn't glorified. We don't settle our disputes by pulling out a gun or throwing punches. People are educated and willing to talk out their differences and work out and find other solutions. It's a local solution to that problem. And you see the culture, the places where mass shootings happen are areas with high crime to start with some of the toughest gun control in the country to start with, where there's a lack of jobs, a lack of opportunity, and failing education systems. And so I think it comes back to local improvement at the most fundamental level of our culture, in our education, providing more choice, opportunity in education, and more time with family, and getting back to the root of family values in America that New Hampshire has never gotten away from.
How about immigration? We had a fascinating conversation on Facebook Live, which people can check out on the WMUR Facebook page. Where do you stand on this very hot-button issue?
Immigration, I believe anybody who's willing to come to the United States, willing to put in the work to come here, to seek an opportunity, to work to better their lives, has the right to seek that opportunity. With this a nation built on immigration. We are nobody here, with the exception of a very, very small percentage of the American population, can claim to be Native American. And that is something we need to recognize and embrace, that for the longest point in our country's history, we had wide open borders. It was anybody who showed up got to stay and seek that opportunity. And through that progress and through that process, we gathered some of the best minds in the world, some of the best engineers, best mathematicians, best teachers, best inventors. And even to this day, immigrants are far more likely than natural-born Americans to have a small business opened in their lifetime, or to patent a new invention, or to go on and become certified in higher education. So why would we want to keep these people out?
Well, perhaps there's a threat. How do you keep open borders and then have a strong national security at the same time?
You keep open borders and have strong national security by eliminating the incentives that make you a target. So right now, the biggest threat globally to the United States is terrorism. People want to say terrorism is why we need closed borders. It's why we need to have Border Patrol in Woodstock, New Hampshire, to stop those crazy Canadians from blowing up Manchester. In reality, most terrorism, with the exception of a handful of acts of domestic terrorism, which isn't stopped by immigration, has been a direct result of American foreign policy and American nation building and intervention outside of our national borders, intervening in conflicts we have no business being in, and just kind of giving people a reason to hate us. Okay,
well, there's a third option on the ballot this November. Justin O'Donnell is Libertarian, running against Annie Kuster and Steve Negron. We appreciate your time. We'll see you out there on the campaign trail, Justin. We appreciate it.